Hello, everyone, and welcome to 0 to 0, a pointless football podcast for fans and non-fans alike. Where we pit someone who knows some football, that would be me, Fixxxer, against someone who knows absolutely nothing about football, that would be he, Tulkas. What's up, Tulkas?
Rejoice!
We're going up a little late today. We've had issues. I've had issues the past few days, and we finally get to record it after the Thursday game. So, we'll first start with the byes. Baltimore, Denver, Houston, and Minnesota all have byes this week. And the Thursday night game was the Carolina Panthers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. We did put up our picks. I put up our picks on Twitter ahead of time just so we can get it on record. I picked Carolina. Tulkas picked Pittsburgh. I was wrong.
Ooh.
Yep.
Was I right?
You were right.
Oh, that's good. Why did you say I was wrong and not Tulkas was right?
Because I was wrong.
But we could have both been wrong. There could have been a tie.
But there wasn't.
But there could have been.
No, not if we pick opposite teams.
If they pick no that not that we tied, but the game tied. So if you said that they would win and I said that the other team would win and it tied, then we would both be wrong because we would have predicted that the team would win, but neither team won.
Fair enough. All right, moving on to the New England Patriots at the Tennessee Titans. Patriots came off a nice win versus the Packers. Looks like someone figured out how to use Cordero Patterson. That dude has been misused his whole career, save for a few non-North Turner games in Minnesota. Look for more of this. Maybe even a lot more of this. The Titans, they beat the Cowboys last week. Hard team to figure out for sure. I'm just going to go with Patterson and the Pats. How about you, Tulkas?
I'm going with the Titans because I believe that the Patriots' bravado can only take you so far. By the way, did you figure out what my prank was in the episode last week?
Yes, I figured it out before we even ended.
Really? What was the prank?
That you were being unoriginal and just picking the same teams I was picking.
Oh yeah, you got the prank. Good talk. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good a prank do you think it was?
A 2.
Aw.
There's supposed to be conflict in the podcast.
Yeah!
And you provided no conflict.
This is the conflict in the podcast. You wanted me to provide conflict, and I didn't provide conflict, thereby, paradoxically, providing conflict.
Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. The Bears wallop the Bills 41-9 and will be getting back off of injury. Hard to judge after a team faces the Bills, and the 41 points wasn't exactly an offensive explosion, as a couple of those touchdowns came came from the defense. Detroit are coming off a spanking by the Vikings where they gave up 10 sacks. Marvin Jones is a great wide receiver, but they sure seem to miss Tate in that game. The Lions aren't as bad as their record indicates, and this game should be closer than people think, but I still think the Bears will win.
So, what do you believe is the best form of government?
Anarchy.
Anarchy. Okay. So, how would you rate democracy on the scale?
Which scale?
The scale of government. You know, we have all our governmental forms: feudalism, democracy, monarchy, and apparently your anarchy. Do you think that democracy is an above average or below average system of government?
Are there any above average systems of government?
I like your style. Okay, so I looked up African lion versus grizzly bear, and I found this website.
You don't need to read it all. I'll put it in the description for you.
Okay, good talk. Thank you, Fixxxer. So basically, it was like going on about, obviously, which one would win. And the article concluded that grizzly bear will always win in head-to-head fight with African lion because grizzlies are stronger, taller, and heavier. They also have the bigger paws with stronger, deadly swipes than lion, though they are smaller than polar bear, but still they are the stronger and dangerous than all other bears in the world. What do you think about that eloquent masterpiece?
Wait a minute. This is compareanimal.com?
Yeah!
So
Epic
you're
sauce.
outsourcing your picks?
No, this is where it comes down to our system of government. You see, it's all a segue. So then we can go down into the comments, and it's all everyone's like. Some people are like, oh no, the lion is like really strong, but the bear is really fat. But is being fat a good thing? And the lions, they can run away, but if we're fighting in Chicago, then the lions can't run away. So it's like lots of bad grammar, and I don't really get it, but. The crucial thing here is at the very top, we have a poll. And the grizzly bear wins 73% of the vote with 12,678 votes. And the African lion loses with 27% of the vote with 4,605 votes. Now, you may doubt the veracity of this source. You may doubt the power of this monarch allegory. However, you must admit that if democracy is to be upheld as a suitable form of government, then the grizzly bear cannot help but win.
All right, so there's one flaw in your logic.
Yeah?
#Demcoacy.
Aw, I was wondering if you would notice that. I left it there just for you.
Uh-huh. So you rag on me for my typos. There's your typo. So who did you pick? You're picking the Lions then?
No!
But it says in Chicago. Okay, so you're picking the Bears.
Yeah, I just said the Bears won with 12,678 votes. That's a lot of votes.
Well, I don't know if you've got some sort of electoral college that's going to overrule that.
Electoral colleges aren't democratic.
That's why I said overrule.
Fixxxer has forbidden me from discussing the recent election outcomes. Otherwise, I would do so. But I'm going with the Bears because I believe that while the comments made in this website may be stupid individually, if you aggregate the stupidity of the masses, then you can get a sensible opinion.
I was convinced you were going to pick the Lions because I thought that you were going to pick every opposite team as me this week. Just to... Wait, you know what? Before we move on, I would like to point out, because what you did last week, I was just 7-7. It was my worst week because of what you did.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why did what I did influence what you did?
Because that's the only thing that has changed. I was doing great up until last week until you made all your picks my picks, or all my picks your picks, and then I suddenly lose. Not a coincidence.
Ah, I see. But I didn't pick mine until after you picked yours. So picked yours.
These are minor details. All right, moving on. Still Sunday morning. Well, early afternoon. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Both teams are coming off. Yep, your Colts. They're both coming off the bye, and both teams really need this win if they expect to make the playoffs. Expect a good game. The Jags have been struggling to put up points, and the Colts are having no issue doing so. Right now, I think the Colts offense is better than the Jags defense, much more so than vice versa. So I will go with the Colts.
I reckon Scott's to be the Jags. Sad times. They're going to pounce them on. Horses are prey animals, juvenile horses especially.
There you go. New Orleans Saints at the Cincinnati Bengals. The Saints delivered the Rams their first loss and solidified their position as a top team if you felt they hadn't already done so. Defense got wrecked, though. They signed Dez Bryant, who then tore his Achilles in practice and won't play the rest of the season. How does that make you feel?
It makes me... Wait, is Dez Bryant the dude from last week that was doing his first game? He's all cool and stuff?
No, this was his first... Yeah, this was his first game. Well, no, this would have been his first game. But he didn't even get to play. He tore his Achilles.
Okay, but what happened to the guy from last week that, he was playing his first time and then he started to cry?
Oh, no, that's a different guy. I'll talk about him when he comes up.
Cool. Okay, well... Why would I have an opinion on Dez Bryant?
He's the flashy former Cowboy. He signed a new contract to play in New Orleans, and he injured himself before he even got to play.
Is Dez short for Desmond?
I don't think so, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. I want to be called Dez. How about for the rest of the podcast, you call me Dez?
All right. The Bengals, they had a bye before which they beat the Bucs in a shootout. AJ Green will be out for the Bengals, else I would say this is another shootout. Don't think they could pull it off against I don't think they could pull off an upset without Green. Saints will win here.
So last week, man, St. Giles did work. I didn't expect St. Giles to do work, did I?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, I mean, obviously, I might have expected and chosen differently because I was pranking you. Woo-woo! But, yeah, I'm impressed. St. Giles, my boy. Also, the whole Achilles kind of thing is sort of fake news. I remember there was a bingo game with Brian and Kurt was like, oh, where does Achilles thing come from? Is that the Iliad? And Brian was like, oh, I think so, yeah. But no, it was not. There was no reference to the magical properties or the unmagical properties of Achilles' heel in the Iliad because he actually gets wounded in like his side or something in the Iliad, which would not happen if he had this whole dipped in the river Styx thing. Anyways, there's no saint for tigers. Best I could find was a saint for cats. And India is Hindu anyway, so the Tigers will just nom the Saints. Bengals win.
All right. So Bengals win.
Yeah.
Washington Redskins.
You put it in all lowercase and then you were cute and made it all capitalized. That's cute.
I've done that many times because I use caps lock as my push to talk. So sometimes I'll mess that up.
Really? Whoa! You can do that?
Of course you can do that.
I want to do that. Why have you not? We've been recording stuff together for 5 years, and you've never told me that. I am affronted.
Washington Redskins at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucs defense continues to struggle as it gave up 42 points to the Panthers in their loss. Fitzmagic had an okay game, but the running game continues to be inept. The Skins got roughed up by the Falcons 38-14. Peterson was shut down on just 9 rushes for 17 yards. Fitzmagic is no Matt Ryan, but sometimes he can be. Going with the Bucs to bounce back on the back of Fitzmagic himself. How do you feel, Des?
How do I feel?
That's what I
said. How I feel? I feel that I don't know. I looked up a video from Empire Total War of the pirates fighting the Pueblo, and the pirates won, but I don't think that's very relevant.
Well, thanks for sharing anyway.
Hang on. Go. Sorry. Okay. So, yep. So I predict that the Native Americans will win because they don't have a lot to plunder. You know, like they're just they're living off the land and they're not teepees, wigwams. I think I don't know. This is always a problem when we do these. Why is there a 14M thing?
That's 14 minutes into the podcast, so I can edit out what you just did.
Ooh, giddy up! So yeah. I always get worried about the Redskins because, I know there's I don't want to be racist, but if they live in wigwams, they don't, they're sort of more living with land, they don't have a lot of, material wealth things for the Buccaneers to plunder, and they're pretty mobile housing, so they could just leave the village and go in, and the Buccaneers are all about raiding, but I think that the Native Americans should be able to escape or fight them in the interior. So and especially if
they don't have a lot of material wealth that one would want to plunder, yet history has shown that we have done so anyways.
Have we though? It's more about taking the land, I think.
Oh yeah, that is still material.
I don't think that when the settlers and the Native Americans do battle,
and
it's
gold
more about
and gold. Don't forget we liked their jewelry.
I don't think they had. Did they have jewelry?
Yes.
I think they bought jewelry. They traded furs for the jewelry.
Was trading something that was going on too often, or was taking?
It was the French traded.
Well, yeah. Well, the French aren't. Yeah.
Okay.
No, they're not the English.
Well. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't. Oh, I don't know a lot about it, but I'm pretty confident that while this segment has shown me to be both incompetent in terms of needing to edit stuff out and racist, I still think that the Native Americans are going to win. So, I mean, if I think they're going to win, then that isn't racist, right? I'm not racist. I'm not racist. You're racist.
All right, moving on. Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. What a matchup. So the Bills. Oof, what a matchup.
What a matchup.
All right, so the Bills were so bad last week, I don't have much else to say about them other than they're going to start Barkley over Peterman. The Jets offense struggled versus Miami as they lost 13-6, and Darnold's threw 4 interceptions. No one is going to want to win this game. I don't even know how to call this, really. It's a toss-up. Maybe home field advantage helps? Probably not. I'll go with the Jets anyways.
Yeah, I'm also going with Jets. Their superiority should be pretty good.
Next up, we're still in these early games. The Atlanta Falcons at the Cleveland Browns. Hey, the Falcons of old showed up against the Skins. We know their offense is always capable, but the defense has been highly questionable this year. Careful buying into it, though, until you see a few games like this. The Browns, they lost 37-21 to the Chiefs, which is kind of respectable considering. This will be all about which Falcons defense shows up, really. Expect a closer game than some people may think. Falcons will win.
Hey, Fixxxer. Hey, the Falcons folded up. Fun times. I predict that the Falcons will be sucked into the morass, but I don't really know. This is one of the games I'm leaving up to Diesel, or one of Diesel's options. Diesel can only pick one game. This is one of the 2 games he has to choose from. There you go.
All right, Atlanta for you as well until Diesel says otherwise. The Arizona Cardinals at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 16.5-point favorites here, the largest line the team has ever seen in its history. The Cards, they had a bye week to prepare for this, but it probably won't matter. However, this does have evidence of a trap game. Kansas City's center is out, and their backup was already out, so they got to throw someone else over there. The Cards, they have some talent on both sides of the ball. It was their coaching that was holding them back. That doesn't mean the new coaching is up to snuff, but we're going to find out, I think. If they could use David Johnson to control the clock and avoid all their turnovers that they tend to have, this can definitely be a trap game. Either that or it's going to be a blowout. I can't in good conscience pick against the Chiefs here, so Kansas City wins.
Okay, so as I was preparing I was researching all the candidates for the upcoming election that is now the past election. I was looking up the Indiana treasurer, and the incumbent Indiana treasurer made a video featuring a cardinal. Now, in this video, we have some animated children. You know, they're walking down.
Wait. Can I intervene here?
Okay, give me your hot take.
So this treasurer made this video. Was it part of this person's campaign, or did they make it while they were treasurer and they're just the incumbent now?
Not the campaign. It's just, I think it's just a public,
But they were the treasurer when they made it.
Yeah.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, so yeah, the treasurer's office decided, we want to educate school children about taxes. So the plot to this wonderful video is, we have our children, and they're walking down the street, and they're wondering about taxes. Like, oh no, my mom and dad have been talking about taxes. What could it be? Oh no, and then they go to school, and then they come out of school, and at recess, they're looking up at the clouds. Oh look, there's a dragon. Oh look, there's a Jack-in-the-Box shaped cloud. And then out of the Jack-in-the-Box pops a cardinal, and the cardinal flutters down, declares that he is the state bird of Indiana, says that taxes help fund public safety, education, and general government, and then flies off. Fixxxer, what was your hot take on this video?
It was so bad. It was awful. I can't believe anybody would watch that past 30 seconds.
Yeah, I love Indiana, and I couldn't take the whole thing in one sitting. Yeah, I mean, it was.
So are you going to pick against the Cardinals in protest then?
No, remember to first of all, make sure to put it in the description below so our viewers can also share in this
Okay.
this greatness.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to pick it because this shows that the Cardinals are very, they're very civilized. They have a lot of, government bureaucracy. They have public safety, education, and general government on their side. Now, before we go on, I have to say, this sounds super racist. This sounds all like, white man's burden. This sounds like, the Cardinals have civilization and the Native American chiefs do not. Like I'm not going for that angle. I'm not going for the angle at all. I'm just saying that the Cardinal, as a Hoosier, is a very, very sensible bird and will be able to keep his head in the fight. And there he's going to be, very sensible bird. And I think that he's just going to be able to, flutter around, be like, caw, 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 and, public safety, education, and general government.
Okay. Good to know. Sunday afternoon games, the Los Angeles Chargers are at the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders have become the laughing stock of the NFL in under a year. This is a tank season for them so they can get more value out of all those juicy draft picks that they got. Chargers, they beat a hot Seattle team, and the Raiders are much worse. Chargers in a blowout.
Define tank season.
So a tanking team means that they're going to play bad intentionally in order to get a high draft pick in the draft.
Oh.
Basically what you do is some people feel that it's better to be bad than mediocre because mediocre doesn't get you a good draft pick. So if you're going to be like little worse than mediocre, you may as well be full on bad. And no teams will really ever admit to this because it's very unsportsmanlike, but it happens more in basketball than it does in football, and I think a lot of people would argue that the Raiders wouldn't do this, but I don't know. It feels like a tank season.
Okay. Well, I think that the Raiders would probably be susceptible to a charge regardless. I mean, they're pretty disorganized. They're only focusing, every man for himself, trying to raid and plunder, and, they're more focused on, foraging and getting stuff, whereas the Chargers, they can just swoop in and pulverize, and, maybe the Raiders can sort of disperse and get away, but, I mean, a tactical withdrawal can just as easily turn into a general rout. So, yeah, I think that regardless, Chargers, we're going to win. This was the other one I was going to leave to Diesel, but after a conversation, I think I'll just leave Diesel to pick between the Falcons and the Browns.
All right, Sunday afternoon games, the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Good game here. Yeah, I got a typo in there. Don't say anything.
Good game!
Rams are coming off their first loss. They should have no problem putting that behind them. I'd say the Saints demonstrated to the teams how to beat the Rams, but that recipe requires Drew Brees. The Seahawks, they came off a disappointing loss to the Chargers. I think they'll put up a good fight, possibly even win if they can avoid turnovers, but I'm just going to stick with the Rams.
I want to be called Drew Brees. Hey, Fixxxer, I'm Drew Brees now. I'm the breeze man. I'm like the breeze. I'm like a breeze that will go through the air and carry a leaf onto your nose.
Oh, he did go to Purdue.
Whoa! My father got his doctorate at Purdue.
There you go. Indiana bred.
Yeah, Hoosier. Woo-woo. Although I prefer Indiana University. I'm more of an IU kind of guy. Because IU is more liberal arts and then Purdue is more STEM. So I'm more of an IU. I'm not too hot in the Purdue. But yeah, Lafayette isn't too bad. I don't know. But anyway, I reckon that we've always gone on about how the Rams can fly. But I think the Seahawks are nimble enough to dodge the Rams and go all scratchy. So I reckon the Seahawks will win.
You reckon?
I reckon.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles for Sunday evening football. The Eagles are coming off a bye. By the way, there was a flex game in here. What happened?
What do you mean, what happened?
There was a flex game. I don't know where it is.
Unless
it already included one. I think it did include one. Never mind. I see it. All right. Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia. A flex game is where they take a game that's got two teams that are doing really well and they change it to prime time.
Oh.
So more people can see it. So anyways, the Eagles, they're coming off a bye. Wentz is still quietly having a great season, but their wins have come against bad teams. Sproles is out, as is Mills, but they got a shiny new Golden Tate to show off. The Cowboys, they lost to the Titans. Cooper had 58 yards and a touchdown in his Cowboy debut. Austin's going to be out this week. Look for the Eagles to stack the box to stop Zeke and force Dak to beat them in the air, which he's not going to be able to do. Eagles win.
I don't think the Cowboys can fly.
It's probable.
You're going on. You always go on about like, ooh, they can beat them in the air, and I'm like, wait, can they fly? And you're like, oh, yes, they can fly. Oh, I'm Fixxxer TV. I say Goog Gabe, hey, but no, I don't think the Cowboys can fly. I think you're trying to pull a fast one on me. I think my prank last week, it wasn't a 2 out of 10. It was a 10 out of 10 because I picked all the same teams as you, and I beat you, and now you're upset. So I think that you're lying, and I think the Cowboys' pistols will be inaccurate. So I'm going to go with the Eagle. You know what I think you're doing? No. You're picking Eagles because you're wanting me to pick Eagles too, to drive a wedge between me and Diesel. Like, this is what happened last week. Last week, Fixxxer was all like, oh, baby, Diesel is going to be out to sabotage you. And then in the comments, Diesel was like, no way am I going to sabotage him. You know what I think? I think Fixxxer is trying to sow mistrust between me and Diesel so that I lose my one ally in this war against the Texans. No, I am picking the Cowboys. Hashtag Diesel, hashtag Donald Graff, hashtag he has the aged wisdom of an elder. So there.
Monday Night Football, the New York Football Giants at the San Francisco 49ers. Who has Nick Mullins, the Wonder Boy from last week, by the way? The 49ers blasted the Raiders 34-3 behind the one and only Nick Mullins, who got the call 3 hours earlier that he would be starting in his first NFL game. He went on to break several NFL records and earned himself a start this weekend versus the Giants. The Giants, they're coming off a bye after losing to the Skins. Hard to call a game of a quarterback making his second start ever, even if he is coming off a great game. But the Giants, they're a train wreck. Mullins leads the 49ers to victory again.
I think the Giants will win, although I found out recently that the Giants are capped at level 15. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, yeah, apparently the Giants are capped at level 15. But anyway, yeah, I think the Giants, I don't understand. I guess, this is sort of similar to the old Knights of the Museum scenario with Jebediah versus Ben Stiller, Larry Daly. But then, Ben Stiller, yeah, I think it has to be Giants. It has to be Giants. It has to be Giants. It has to be. I'm sorry. It's not a very creative pick, but sometimes creativity kills the cat. No, it's curiosity that kills the cat. If curiosity kills the cat, then what does creativity do to the cat?
Well, creativity kills the crow.
Okay, but what would creativity... Okay. Creativity will kill the crow, and then the cat will eat the crow, then the crow will be infected, and the cat will get ill. There you go.
Exactly. Featured game of the week. Sunday afternoon game, the Miami Dolphins at the Green Bay Packers. All right, so the Dolphins, they came into the league in the 1966 expansion when the franchise was awarded to a local lawyer and actor Danny Thomas of Make Room for Daddy fame. Did you know that?
What's Make Room for Daddy?
It's an old TV show from the 50s.
Oh, Diesel probably knows it.
And another naming contest, the Dolphins was chosen because it had the most submissions among the fans and because the owners liked it for the Dolphins are the fastest and smartest creatures of the sea, quote unquote.
I can get behind that. Giddy up.
The Packers came into the league in 1919 and it is the third oldest team in the league. It is also the only non-profit community-owned major league team in the United States. Many people ask why Green Bay is even has a team, being that it's a tiny city. Well, small-town teams were the norm back in 1919. Des, what do you say about that?
I say giddy up again.
All right, fantastic. What isn't common, though, is them lasting this long. Hence, we got the Green Bay Packers. So this team was founded by Earl Lambeau of Lambeau Field fame, after which the stadium is named. His employer was the Indian Packing Company, who sponsored the team, hence the name, the Packers.
Was he named after the Lamborghini?
He was not.
Oh. But yeah, I think the Green Bay thing is really cool. I think that, if it wasn't for the Colts and Peyton Manning, I would probably root for the Packers.
I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because I'm a Vikings fan, and the Packers are
You're
rivals.
a Vikings fan? You never told me you were a Vikings fan.
I'm pretty sure I said it in the first podcast.
I don't think you did. Why would you be a Vikings fan? Why wouldn't you be a Houston fan?
Which I believe, shared in the first podcast. I became a Vikings fan because when I was young, and we're talking like, I think from like 6 to 8 years old, something like that, I was on a little league soccer team. And our soccer team was named the Vikings, and we wore purple, and the logo was the Vikings logo and everything. So when I got into football, of course, my parents, they liked the Lions because I grew up in Detroit. But,
no, you didn't.
Yes.
I am 100%. This is fake news. I think the Fixxxer has never left the state of Texas.
So anyways, when I started getting into football, I saw a team that wore my colors with my name, and I'm like, that's my team. So I became a Vikings fan.
I mean, think about it. Have you ever seen Fixxxer outside Texas?
Have you ever seen Fixxxer inside Texas?
I hadn't thought about it that way. Wow. You just blew my mind.
So the Dolphins, they squeezed by a terrible Jets team. Their defense is playing strong, but the offense is struggling to put up points. The Pack lost to the Patriots to start a 2-game losing streak. And their defense, it's been against 2 very high-quality teams. I think most people are going to go with the Packers here, but don't count the Dolphins out. If the defense can get to Rodgers and knock him around, I think they can do it. The Dolphins are going to need Drake and Gore to control the ball and keep it out of Rodgers' hands. But in the end, I cannot see Rodgers losing 3 games in a row. Packers win.
Are these freshwater or saltwater dolphins?
Are there any freshwater dolphins?
I think there are freshwater dolphins. Hang on, are there okay, let's do this.
I don't see how there would be freshwater dolphins.
Freshwater dolphins. River dolphins are a group of fully aquatic mammals that reside exclusively in freshwater or brackish water.
Where do they live?
There's a South Asian river dolphin
and
an Amazon river dolphin.
But there's no like Everglades river dolphin.
No, there's Amazon and South Asia. Well, that's pretty cool. Giddy, I knew there was. How could you not know about freshwater dolphin? There's a Yangtze River. Ooh, there's the only trained Amazon River dolphin in the world in Venezuela. Oh, you look like a fun guy. Oh, okay. And there's a Ganga. Ooh, there's like in Hindu mythology, the Ganges River dolphin is associated with Ganga, the deity of the Ganges River. The dolphin is said to be one of the creatures which heralded the goddess's descent from the heaven. The Ganges Mount, the Makara, is sometimes depicted as a dolphin. That's fun. But anyway, that means that the Miami Dolphins are saltwater, and they'll die in Lake Minnetonka, as I so astutely said. So, I mean, if they're dead, they can't really do much. So I reckon the Packers are gonna have to win.
Lovely. There we go. I think that does it for this week's podcast, doesn't it?
Okay, so for our closing note, would you prefer to talk about the funniest country or plans for Svalbard?
Is there what's behind door number 3?
Door number 3 is Mike Braun.
All right, I'll pick door number 4.
Okay, so in the last stream, hashtag Team Suicide Stream and youtube.com/BudMashEmpire, Mirko and I made a pledge that if one of us should move to Svalbard, the other shall join him. Will you be willing to share in our pledge, Fixxxer TV?
No.
Why not?
I don't even know where this place is.
It's in the Arctic Circle north of Norway. International territory, so you don't need a visa.
How's the internet?
Pretty good, actually.
Are you just saying that to convince me, or are you pulling that out of your ass?
No, I didn't pull. We looked it up. It's decent.
Really? Who's the provider?
It was a Norwegian. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what do I have to do to get you to move to Svalbard with us?
I'm not sure there's an answer for that.
Okay.
I have learned not to even give smart-ass answers because you will interpret them the wrong way.
Ooh, how? Name one time that I've interpreted a smartass answer the wrong way.
That did not get filed in any kind of permanent memory. So what I do is instead of filing all of those into permanent memory, I just take the conclusion I had of all those and file that into permanent memory so as to leave my memory open for other things.
I think I have a better memory than you do.
Well, I'm sure you do.
Hey! You just complimented me. Fixxxer, you just complimented me.
But it's probably worse than Moroka's.
Aw. Well, like the video if you want to see Strange Lines play Dungeons & Dragons. Bye, everyone!
Bye-bye!